CPR.
Yeah, getting into that CPR, getting that ready for everybody. But yeah, how's it going?
Coach?
Great. I would say great, man. It's life has been amazing. It's been moving. Um, I love this topic because we're talking about just being in the present. And I was sharing this before the show with Dr. Vibe. The conversations that I'm having with majority of the men in the universe is definitely moving. But what I'm hearing men say is they're really looking at what's more important versus the goals, versus the dreams, versus chasing things. What is really important? And what I'm hearing was really important is family, health, and leaving a legacy.
Yep.
So I've been very happy, man, just to see the change in the energy and the shift and how we're moving. So thank you, say it once again, for this platform and talking about these subjects that's going to move the world in a different place.
Love that. Always a pleasure to be here. It's a get to, not a got to on Wednesdays. So that's the way I look at it. Also, Sid, you read my alleged mind, which I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. I was going to ask you what was the impetus that made you come up with this conversation topic today, but you shared it. So thank you. And if I have permission, I want to kick it off saying like radical presence. And I got some notes here. So it's for me, it's a discipline of showing up fully, grounded, honest, accountable, and emotionally available, especially when distraction, fear, conflict, or pressure invite men to check out. And one of the easiest things for a lot of men to do is to quit.
Mm.
It's to quit. So it's not passive mindfulness. It is presence that produces better choices, stronger relationships, and forward movement. So I just wanted to kick it off there with just my definition of radical presence. Because for a lot of people, they go, what do you mean by radical presence? What does that mean? What's coming out of Sid's mind today?
Awesome. Coach, what you got?
Man, I love what Dr. Vibe just stated, and for me, it goes back to what I just stated earlier. It's just being fully present to where we are, who we are, and what's happening right now. As myself, Coach Hightower, I'm practicing living in the present and not so much in the future. Does it work all the time? No, but it's the way of being and practicing and not allowing yesterday's pain or tomorrow's fear to control what's going on today.
Hmm. Can I add on to that? And I love what you
Go ahead.
said, Coach. And I I would add on for what Coach just said. Radical presence for me is being where my feet are, not where there could be, but where they are right now, living in the present time. So I love what you shared there, Coach.
Thank you,
It
Dr.
struck me being where my feet are right now, not where I would like them to be, but where they are now.
And that's not ignoring the past. We don't want to ignore the past. We still want to be present. But for me, it's just learning from it without continuing to live in it. And I say that because I'm doing a stretch, man. My wife and I are doing a stretch. We're doing the March on Washington this Friday, August 28th. Uh,
Wow.
I embody a lot of Martin Luther King. And when they called me up, I said, yes, I'm down for it. But I didn't realize that goes back not being in the present. I didn't realize the detail of this march until I started actually looking at the notes and looking at the paper. Like, oh, hold up. Martin Luther King, August 28th. I want to say 1963, 1968, but so much living in the present and in the doing that I missed those fine details right there. So it's very important, man, that we slow down, be in the present. And what's so phenomenal about this is that we're talking about what happened back in the 60s and we're still fighting for things today. We're still fighting for civil rights. We're still fighting for votes, something that took place 63 years ago. So we can't ignore the past, but we still have to be in the present. And as I stated back then, Martin Luther King, they said back then was radical. So radical to me is very subjective.
Mm, mm. Sid, don't let me and Coach take over. We were doing that in the green room, so don't. We're not going to let you hide now.
Well, I'm just listening.
Okay.
I really I'm taking it in
Okay.
on where you all are going and reflecting. Is that what radical presence is to me? And I'd
Okay.
have to first say, okay, I'd have to take the two words separate and
Hmm.
say radical. Radical, something totally extremely different than what the norm moves in. That's radical to me. Like Martin Luther King at the time, very radical. Today, there's a lot of people talking, not as radical, and so much that people use that as like, oh, you're just calling out the victim mentality of things. No, no, that's not it for me. So radical is something, my mind, I think, really different, and being radical is expressing that difference, especially when it's moving people forward. And then presence for me, like you can be present, like you all were talking about being present, being where you are, where your feet are planted, taking care of the things today, looking at family. But that's not it for me. Radical presence to me is, how am I bringing God into the conversation? The presence of the greatest thing. And again, like, I was talking earlier, the devil can hides in our busyness. Okay, if I got you thinking about going to the White House 4 days from now, you're not present. You're not in the presence. As my grandmom said to me, even God leaves when you're not present. I mean, let that really sink in. Like, if you're not in the present moment, God's gone. And so for me, when I look at radical presence, it's how radical can I bring God forward in every moment. And that's just where I am. That's where God's hooked me and in this time in my life, and really looking at, okay, how do I express the purpose that God has put on me so that I can expand God's kingdom into a bigger way that eliminates all these things that it wants us to be distracted with. Uh, so that's really where I go with radical presence, and I look at these foolish things that are distractions. Let's round up all the horses, and now there's a debate: is the 300 tons of ground beef that we're bringing really coming from the horses? Well, for me, I mean, my granddaddy used to eat horse meat. I'm not eating horse meat though. But so if you like eating horse meat, cool, more power to you. I won't be participating. Like, no. And as much as I can, I'm going to speak against, why are we rounding up horses right now? Like, no, all the things. Now, I'm not going to get caught in that because it can be just a distraction, but yet I do feel that in the moment when things come, I have to be willing to speak up against the distractions and bring God forward. You know, like for me, there's something to everything that's ever existed on earth was created by God for a reason. So anything that starts to become extinct, we need to keep it because it's part of the circle of life that God created. Yeah, I'll pause there.
If I have permission to jump in, Coach, and maybe Sid, you may want to answer this, but I want to have Coach give his thoughts on this question. Where do men most often confuse being busy, successful, or strong with actually being present? Because a few moments ago we were talking about being present.
Uh, in their job, in their work, in the doing. Um, that's where men find that at. And that's the way of coping. That's the way of, as stated earlier, being distracted. Had a great conversation with a leader yesterday, man. And in regards to this conversation, he was telling me how he went into isolation. Now, isolation can be good and bad. If you're intentionally going into isolation, just say for hearing from God or meditating is different. But when you find yourself going into isolation because you're falling into a depression and not for sure while you're isolating, it can be very dangerous. A majority of men fall into that later category of isolation, and then they get into the doing. And long as you're in the doing, you don't have to worry about dealing with those things that you don't want to deal with.
Mm, mm, mm. That, that's a deep share right there.
I think,
Yeah.
you know, one thing about presence that I've noticed over time is when we tap into it, there's very little to be said. Like, look at how still this conversation really is. When we start to tap into the present moment, is there anything really needed to be said? Is there anything really to do? For me, and I hear people often like, "Oh well, there's something God does what God does, but I have to do what I do." Do you? Like, is that really true? Now, if you're chasing the world, there's going to be things you're going to have to do. You got to anticipate your family's problems so that you can be ahead of the game with that or whatever it might be. But if you're truly present in the presence, is there anything to do? And then someone may say, well, can God, what? Anything you put behind that sentence, yes, God can. Like you may think, oh, I'll have to work in order to pay my bills. I have to work. Do you? Or could someone knock on the door and hand you the money that you think you need? And how could that happen other than through the presence? So radical presence to me really looks like a surrender from the human arrogance that thinks you know what you need to do and turning it over to God. And that's radical, like radical beyond our beliefs. Because when I look at, you know, this has been a real deep journey for me here of late, especially taking a step from World Peace Award to elevating to the next thing. Then it looks like in the moment, like, okay, what's next? For the highest good of the kingdom. I can't tell you what's next, but I can sure walk it when it delivers it to me. But I can't tell you what's next. That's human arrogance to think that, okay, do I need to run for president? Do I need to do? No, it starts to stink. At some point, like, can I be the fingers on the hand of God and touch what I need to touch?
Mm, mm,
Like, do I need to save a guy who's struggling? No, not from where I sit. Someone else, that may be their purpose, but from where I sit, no, because maybe they need to go through the the whatever in order to reach their radical presence. I think about all the things that have ever happened in my life. And if someone had stopped them, I wouldn't be me. Yeah,
mm,
really lands like that for me. Like, yes, I'm here, and if someone wants to come and they're sitting in front of me and they want to express whatever, and I'll be here. But I'm not chasing the I'm not chasing the one that needs healed. I'm not chasing the people that need to pay me so I can foot my bills. I'm not chasing that stuff anymore because chasing it must create it. In order for me to be the healer, I must go find sick people. And that's not it for me. So I have no interest in being in the fight that's creating what I'm trying to remove in all things. That's radical to me.
So, with that being said, it takes, from my experience, it takes going through certain things and actually connecting with God to get where you at. Share with us how you've been able to get to this spot to be radically present. Because it just didn't happen overnight.
No, absolutely not. Well, first, um, I mean, I had seen God in different moments, right? Like seen ease or seen protection or seen all the different things that the light is doing for us to keep us alive. I don't care who you are. The truck that didn't hit you and you just drove past an accident, you just got kept alive. Like, let's get real about that. And so, because you could have been a moment earlier and wiped off the planet. So knowing that, the first thing I would say for me was truly saying thank you. Thank you for getting me here and committing to getting to know it that has been protecting me. And it's beyond a religion. I know some people want to sit there and say it's only Jesus. Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that it is the light. No, in the sense that that being Jesus was anything other than from the light. So therefore, for me, as I've gotten further and further, I'm like, I need to know the light. I'm not looking at the rainbow anymore. Like most people think about the rainbow, they see the rainbow, they want to chase the rainbow and get to one side or the other of the rainbow. But the actual thing that is making the rainbow is the light. The actual thing that is making all the religions is the light. I've just gotten to that place radically that nothing else matters to me.
Great job, and thank you for sharing that. And I do realize from experience, first of all, it's all about God, man. You have to have a relationship with God. If you don't have a relationship with God, it changes up everything. But I love it that you're no longer chasing problems. You're no longer chasing people. You're allowing God to talk to you, and you're moving the way God is guiding you. And that takes a lot of discipline with all the distractions that we have going on between the internet, TV, politics. We have a lot of distractions here in the Western world. That's why I understand now why people travel, go to different places to relax their mind. Anytime I leave America and I come back, I can feel the stress as soon as we land. And I say that because we have so many distractions. And I don't think we realize it because it's becoming our norm. I never forget hearing, I think it was Vladimir Putin. He had made a comment. He said, "Y'all television in the United States is like a war room."
Like a what?
A war room. When you turn on the television, you're looking at news, which I don't watch a lot of television at all. But everything is late breaking news. CNN, you would think they're running a war room just based off everything that takes place. But we have so many distractions here. So
Mm.
great job, man, in explaining and getting one with God. And that's what makes the Western world so different than some of the other countries. We are literally, in my opinion, and my experience, we are in the belly of the beast here in the Western world. Between the
Mhm.
food, which is controlling us, between the propaganda that's being controlled. We're under so many different subjects and experiences and experiments. That's part of the distraction. And as long as I got you distracted, I can't have you focus on what's really going on.
Mhm. Mhm. 100%.
Yeah, you know the space of being distracted here in the states. I mean, it's real, but it goes back to me to human arrogance because once you know, like really know, sit down. At least once I knew that everything else has to stop. Like has to. Like I know for sure, no one listening and myself, none of us reached inside of a woman and made ourselves into a baby.
Hmm.
So all these people walking around here in the states thinking that, oh, Oh, I'm one with God. No, no, no. You didn't do that, so you can't be. If God did anything, eat food, you ain't reaching down in your stomach and churning it up like you turn on your Vitamix. Like, breathe air, it's clean coming in. All these things, you didn't create them. As much as you may think, oh, I'm one with God. Well, you ain't God, though.
Mm.
I think that's that's another distraction by the demon, whatever you want to call that thing. That's another distraction. You didn't create this stuff. I don't care who you are. You didn't create it. As much as you may be one with God, you didn't do it. God created you. Whatever you want to call God, I don't care what you call God. Just know you ain't do it. Like, I don't get hung up on that anymore. Like, I don't want to join somebody's gang so I can give God the right name.
Oh boy, how do you
And this is
follow that?
radical. And I know some people might get upset. And the algorithm's a little different. I can look at the numbers and see how much they're pumping something out because they don't want you to know this. And now, will you take it, whoever you are, and be radical enough to hand it to somebody else that may need to hear it so that they can go further? This is not being preached everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
That everybody, now the numbers growing, it's not being preached everywhere because separatism is another way of the beast. Keep us all separate because if you come together, it's already been seen. You can look at Target trying their best to stop some of the bleeding.
Are they?
Yeah, they just came out and talked about it and talked about something. So they'll do it until people are distracted enough to go back and then they'll bring something else. Well, guess what? I ain't coming back. It's radical presence. And if I start to notice that they're a lot like Target, I ain't going there either. Like, I'm not going to buy ground beef. Y'all gonna have to throw that shit away if it's on me. Like, I'm not going to buy ground horse, nor am I going to buy the beef from another country that's trying to get rid of their beef so they can feed it to, you know what they did? This one, here's radical presence for me. I was in the Gulf Shores, Alabama, and I was out fishing because we were in between sessions of classes I was teaching. We went out fishing with this guy. He wanted to take me fishing. And as the sun set, I said, hold up, man. Is that oil on the top? And he said, yeah, man. But I'm here to tell you, if you go dive down, it's a lot thicker. It's like 6 inches. And I was like, for real? He's like, yeah, man. Like, we ain't keeping nothing today. We throwing it all back. Like, this is just for fun, like just hanging out. I said, all right. So we went out to dinner. And when we went out to dinner, I felt sick this is the last time I've eaten shrimp. I had a shrimp, felt sick. And I said, hey, hold up. What's going on with your shrimp? They said, well, where's it from? They said, oh, we get everything from the Gulf and we ship it all over the country because they know that recycling it inside of a human will recycle it in the ocean. Nah, heck no. You ain't getting me like that. No way. I'm not going to be your human garbage disposal. Radical presence looks like just paying attention radically and stepping away from the crap. Don't tell me that you're radically present and care for God and then you just went and drank a bunch of alcohol. You just went and ate a bunch of sugar. And I could keep going on all the list of things that the demon is killing you with because you're not radically present. You're actually unpresent because you're not even listening to what's happening in your body. I mean, I can look at my body right now from 6 months ago and how lean, and I could go play any sport I want to play right now again because I'm radically present to, nah, you don't get to just play with my body like that. Yeah, it's like all we have to do is wake up as humanity and say, no, I won't be part of that. on all levels, sex trafficking. If you ain't paying attention and stopping sex trafficking around you, if little kids are disappearing near you, then you're part of the problem. Radical Presence says, don't even. And I go talk to my neighbors about it, make sure they know their kids need to be safe. I go make sure that as we talk, like, hey, bruh, we see someone strange coming up in here, they don't get to make it out. Like radical presence, radical beyond the thoughts of the norm. Like the norm is why we're here. It has to be different.
Well, I would say said it is definitely different. If gentlemen, if we can recall, 6 years ago we had COVID. More than 7 million people worldwide passed away, and it's probably close to 15, 20 because they were so overwhelmed that a lot of it probably wasn't reported accurately. That was the first time that the world was actually forced to be radically present, and we noticed a change after COVID. A lot of people wasn't going back to work. A lot of people was looking at the value of what it was to work from home, to be with their family. And this is the whole world was put on pause. The whole world was on lockdown. So become radically present during that time made us, forced us to sit back and think what's really important. And I don't think they intended for that to happen. It woke a lot of people up. It made people even looking more back at COVID right now. It's making people look back at what the hell did I take? I've seen a lot of friends, and we experienced a lot of death during that time. On my wife's side of the family, they lost more than 30 people.
Wow.
And we're talking about it in a year time frame. I have friends that have taken the vaccine, and their health has went completely a different way. So that radically present, that really forced the world back in 2020 to really look at what's really important. But do we want to go through another era like that, that we have to be forced to sit down to find out what's important?
Wow, powerhouse stuff coming down the line today. Let me see if I can, this thing about presence. And Sid, I know you've been into yoga for many, many years. So let me ask, what do you feel are some of the advantages when a man has, and this is also for coach, when a man is in a radical presence zone or environment? What manifests from your own experiences or men that have told you about their experiences?
Well, the alignment, from what I've seen, alignment comes through. Like radical presence actually almost pushes away, but it also brings in a deeper attack. Like I had someone a couple days ago. It was just a strange moment. But I'm sitting there typing. I went to see a friend at this cafe, and she manages all these cafes, and so I went to see her because we hadn't talked in a while. And then I started working on my movie. I'm typing, and I hear this table next to me say, "God is removing the veil." And I was like, "All right, let me go back to writing. God, why'd you want me to hear that?" Because I couldn't hear their conversation, but I heard that clear as day. So when they were leaving, now down they're sitting there, it was just an interesting deal. Husband goes out to the car, grabs a wad of cash. He's buying like three different Louis Vuitton bags. It was just, all right, what y'all, I don't know what y'all doing, but it's definitely, this ain't Louis Vuitton. We're sitting in La Petite Cafe. So the lady gets up to leave, and I said, "Excuse me, I wasn't listening to your conversation, but I heard you say something." And I said, "You said God is lifting the veil." Now I've helped exorcise people from demons. I've seen it. Ain't no joke. So
Hmm.
this lady turns around and looks me in the eyes, and I was like, "Oh, damn!" I it was like devil got me sleeping. She locked in my eyes. I got back home, started making lunch, and my whole body started just on the inside inflaming. It was getting to my heart. Fortunately, I know how to counter that. So I went right into prayer and called it in. and boom, gone. That's radical presence for me. At this point, I am so in it that I know I'm the potential of being under attack is always there. I don't rest in that. I don't sit there and worry about how I'm going to defeat it in the future. But when it comes, I better remember, pray and call it in. That's been my life. And if you are somebody that is supposed to be walking in whatever it is you're walking in, your life is preparing you for that moment. Always. You're no different than a caterpillar that turns to liquid and goes through metamorphosis to become a butterfly. We are no different than the eagle that flies to the top of the mountain and has to break its talons off and bite its talons off and break its beak open just so that it can become what it is becoming. We are going through the same thing, and we have to be present so that we can become, or you'll be taken out before you do. And that's okay. Like, if you're supposed to be taken out, if I'm supposed to get a lesson from you being taken out, I'm just okay with that now. I used to want to save everybody. Well, everybody ain't going to get saved. Some people are just meant to be, their purpose is truly to be an example of how to spread into a bigger space of God's kingdom. I just happened to align to I met the guy when I was surfing, couple years, 2020. I was out surfing, and I met Pastor Joby. We were out. He was out with his family on the beach. I just finished surfing, and he introduced himself. I didn't. He's like, "Yeah, I run this church called 1122." I had no concept of this church and the magnitude of this church. So 2020 goes by. We get all the way to 2026. Liz and I go get baptized. Pastor Joby. Now, if you know anything about me, when I say these things, you'll know what I'm talking about. He was the football coach. He rides a Harley. He surfs. He's the third, and he has the fourth. When I started hearing all of that, I could not. I had to tune in. I had to say, all right, God, what are you trying to show me here? What are you trying to show me when my life is so aligned to this guy that is doing what you're asking of my life? I think that's radical presence, to actually see how God is speaking to you all the time to bring the kingdom forward. I don't care if you're a Muslim. I don't care if you're Jewish. You call it Lord. There is a Lord, and it came after the light. Are you willing to get to the light? It just so happens that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. It's been in my life way too long. It's walked with me all the time. It's continually present. It elevates my life, elevates my wife. As soon as I committed, my son had to come back home, get him too. Like, it just is what it is. Like, at some point, you have to recognize that this world is dark. If we have not opened up the Epstein files and gotten everybody, ask yourself why. Because the darkness is overseeing that. That's it. So when you gonna say nope, enough's enough, and figure out how to be the hand of God in your own life? Like, it's real for me. I've never been. I mean, I've had people around in my life, my whole life, that a lot of people would call them Bible slumpers. And now they're probably like, yeah, we finally got Sid on the team, man. Damn. And one being my dad, one being my mom, one being football players, all types of people. But they couldn't put me on the team. God already had me on the team, needed me to experience and go through and dip into yoga, dip into Buddhism, dip into all these different things that I've done so that it would be undeniable. This is real for me. Radical presence. Actually, I didn't come up with this topic. I just was on with Jason we were texting, and I said, "Give me a topic for Wednesday." He said, "Radical." I said, "All right, man, I got it. See you later." Like, yeah, God's always talking. Be willing
Nice.
to actually listen, and then after listening, go execute whatever it is God is talking about.
Mm,
And
I,
not you got to go a little deeper too. You can't just be sitting there just because you hear it like it's your voice. No, it's probably the devil trying to tell you to do something stupid. You got to listen. God ain't gonna stop, and it's a whisper. It's not a yelling in your head. Yeah, it's real.
I like that, Sid. As you stated, alignment. It's definitely alignment. What I noticed in regards to your question, Dr. Vibe, that you asked, men also become focused. Alignment, focus, and intentional. Um, I was having a conversation with a guy yesterday, interesting conversation. And it was always deep conversations like this, but he was telling me when he was in isolation, and as was said, talked about, this is where you got to have the relationship with God because you will come under attack. You will come under attack. And as he was in isolation, he was sharing me, there was some things that was taking place that he was unaware of. And if you don't have that foundation, you don't have that connection with God, as you stated, it can be the devil telling you to do something else. But my experience, men get focused, they get more intentional. And when men get focused, get intentional, and when you get men together like you got us together, talking about these things, um, it can be dangerous because it's warfare. Even though we're putting out this information and we're having the men's circle, it's still another form of spiritual attack. We're just seeing it from the physical standpoint as this is a podcast and we're talking about radical presence, times to move ahead. But anytime you're doing something that's going to change and awake people, the enemy is coming after you.
mm,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, if you're not being bothered and you're just flowing through life, you're probably doing the work, helping them out in some way. Like I think of this person that owns a company. I'm not going to say the name. This is a huge company, and everybody would know exactly the company. Life's pretty easy. Doesn't do anything. Think about when Hugh Hefner started fading. Back in the beginning, because I got some friends that are playmates. Back in the beginning, it was all Solomon and Gomorrah. Y'all hang out, do whatever you want. When did it fade? When he accused Epstein of raping people, raping
Mm.
some playmates. Go look it up. When you're just doing what the devil wants, no problem. Step into the den, you got a problem. Attack the den, it just got bigger. And that so then for me, like my life, I've just been blessed that I've had a nanny that was a voodoo queen, knew how to protect me. Hey, y'all can say what you want. She knew how to protect me. Then we moved, and I had, for some reason, I just kept getting all these different um, grandmothers, older ladies, elders that would just say, I'm your new grandson. And they would tell me all types of stuff. And now I just have the tools to go to this war. I have the tools to sit. And I actually just, what's today? Wednesday? Yesterday, I went to a ladies' circle because they know what the war looks like. I sat in with all ladies so they could teach me how to fight this demon world. Like, you got to humble yourself. I don't care who you are, because it will be a fight that you can't win, but God can. And now I had to get real with that, like going blind, going paralyzed. Like, all right, man, how many other things do I got to experience? You got to help me out here. Like, so I had to. I just for me, I just had to find what did it look like to tap all the way in, and I don't care what you call it. Like, I'm cool with typically talking to people, and I'm not trying to offend you and add to your problems if you're Muslim, if you're Jewish, if you're whatever. that doesn't look like my walk. But can you go to the light? Can you let the light guide you? Not Sid. I don't want that responsibility. Can you go to God and say, if you got something dark on you, around you, can you go to something bigger and let it help you? So that we can stop playing in the muck of all the stuff right now. And then everything else will open up. Yeah, that's just keeping it 100 for me.
Nice. Nice. Love it. Love it.
We can't hear
You know,
you.
I'll keep.
When you talk about the Epstein files, this goes very deep, very deep. And when you start, and this goes back to radical being present, and when you have that time to be intentional, when you start looking at things, it'll lead you down a whole nother rabbit hole. So when we talk about the Epstein files, this is just not America. This goes all the way back to the country I've been talking about on the podcast, Israel. This goes back to Palestine. This goes back to this what's taking place now with America and Iran. These Epstein files are very deep, but it also goes back to the spiritual warfare that we're speaking about. There's a reason why they've been very slow to release this. There's a reason why they're coming up with a whole nother Transparency Act #2. This is spiritual warfare. And now America is getting in bed with the devil. We've been in the bed with the devil for quite some time. But now we actually are getting into bed with the devil because now we're about to bring the militaries together. And you must ask yourself this, people. What does that look like? What does that look like with American military and Israel military coming together? What does that look like for you?
Good question. Good question. Like I'm gonna ask myself a question. I'm gonna answer it. Um, there have been times I haven't been present, and it's cost me. It's cost me at times relationships. It's cost me peace, aligning with Sid. So I'm just putting this out there to the audience, maybe as a takeaway. What has it cost you when you haven't been present? Parts of my journey when I wasn't present, it cost me relationships. Sometimes it's almost cost me my health and my life. So radical presence is not a bad thing, especially in these times. I don't hear the word as much as, but you hear there's a time people are disruptors. Being a disruptor is not a bad thing all the time.
Mm-mm.
That's part of being radical. You got to change. You got to change because if you don't like what you're at, you got to change. As someone said a long time ago, if your life's a mess, sometimes probably your mind's a mess. You got to get radical and change, right? Because each one of us here, and we're not the experts in doing it, but we all realize that if we want to get to where we got to get to, we got to change something we're doing. We're either got to do something less, more, or something totally different. That's radical. So just sharing that there. I just wanted to put that out. But yeah, not having presence has cost me, and I'm sure it's probably cost people out there if you really want to think about it.
Thank you for sharing that, Dr. Rob. That is so important.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome. This is really important. I went through a program about 2 years ago, man. It was a self-development, professional development course, very intense for about 5 months. And one thing I learned going through that course, and we're talking about radical presence, I wasn't always fully present. Like right now, I've been present, but there's been time, man, I would be following up with my phone, making sure I'm not missing nothing, jotting things down. And it's taken me a while to just be present, just to be present, putting the phone down. Now, when I'm having conversation, even with my wife, I make sure I'm present. I'm having a conversation where I'm not distracted. And once again, that requires discipline. Even at the gym,
Yeah.
I'm getting better at not, using my phone for whatever meditation or motivation, but not getting caught up with the text message and emails. Being present, giving myself that time that I get to work out and treat my body. So, radical presence, man, this is a very important conversation, and we must ask ourselves: are we present? And what does present look like? I remember when I was a single father coming back from the Iraq War. Um, I wasn't ready. When I say I wasn't ready to be a full time parent. Had my kids, I was in the house, but I wasn't really present. I was present as a provider, present as a father, but there was time I was just sitting there, but I wasn't really fully present.
Mm. Wow.
So this is very important. This is a great conversation because when we're not present, we're distracted. And when we're distracted, there's no telling what's going from there or what can come from that. So thank you for sharing that, Dr. Rob, because it does cost you. You got to ask yourself, what does it cost you not being present? I can tell you what it cost me. It
Mm.
caused me a lot of opportunities. It caused me to miss out on some of the details. It caused me not to be as great as I can be. And my goal is to be the best version of myself every day.
Mm. Yeah.
So thank you for this topic, Sad. This is very important because it ties into so many aspects of being present, but also being connected spiritually, being aware. You can't be aware, man, if you're constantly being distracted and if you're not present. So this
Mm.
actually is on point. Is making me refocus and asking myself, where do I get to be more present at?
I'm gonna leave it with this, and thank you both for
Yeah.
the conversation. But I'm gonna leave it with: go find your people. Stop hanging around the people that are supporting darkness in some way. Go find your people. On Mondays, we go to a couples disciples group. On
Nice.
Tuesdays, I go visit the women's disciple group. On Wednesdays, I'm here with you all. On Thursdays, we sometimes go to church. On Fridays, I do a men's group in person. I refuse to let myself be in this space of empty time for the devil to infiltrate me, whether it's on a phone or with the person sitting next to me at the cafe. I am standing 10 toes down on point, ready to go. Like that's just it. Like that's radical presence for me in my life. You do it the way you need to do it. But if I know as I continue to go forward, bringing this light forward, I've got to be ready. And I hope you're getting yourself ready in that way too.
Sid, can I just add one quick thing?
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to close out with this. Radical presence isn't about becoming perfect. It's becoming available to the truth, to the people we say we love, and to the responsibilities we have been avoiding. Moving ahead is not about one dramatic moment. It's the daily decision to stop disappearing from our own lives. So this is what I'll leave the family with who are watching this live on replay. The question isn't not whether you are in the room. The question is, when you're in the room, can people feel that you're truly there? Thanks again, Sid.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you all. Look forward to seeing everybody soon. Head over to sidmcnary.com. You can find Dr. Vibe, Coach Hightower on Instagram, LinkedIn, all those different places. We're here for you. Keep moving your life forward. We can be one of your mat carriers in your life. People have to be actually doing the work, and it's time. It's time for all of us to continue to elevate and get there
Yes.
in every way. It's up to us
Facts.
to make this world different. Can't count on those people that are actually holding the hand on the gun. You got to actually go do it for yourself. So let's get to it. Let's get to work. Thank you all for being here. Have a beautiful week. Until we see you next week. Peace. I've been at peace for so long. It seems seems like I've been sitting all alone. Would you know when the crew is coming through? They're the ones that will make anew. Gotta go, gotta flow, gotta choose the truth. We the ones that will raise the roof. Let's roll up and throw down. Let's go and feel the sound. Good vibes, one try. Can you feel me now? Be you, be me, be free. Go and take it till we bounce the beat. Take it to the streets, make 'em move the feet. I can slow it down, look in my eyes now. Just like you two want it fast. Spread them wings and make it last. God was the one to erase the past. Time to bring it forward and see the forecast. Did you hear it? Did you hear it? Lift your dreams and fill the glass. Did you hear it? Did you hear it? Lift your dreams and fill the glass. That was God's broadcast. That was God's broadcast. Time to embrace the peace. Time to embrace the peace. Time to embrace the peace.